The night she asked for directions, her feet were never on the ground. And when the lightning struck, what he saw made him lose his mind forever.
Chapter 1. The Village and the Cold. It was the kind of winter that made old people close their windows and pray. Not just cold, but deeply, unnaturally cold. The kind of cold that has no reason, no weather explanation. The kind that makes animals go quiet and dogs refuse to go outside. The fog that night was alive. It moved in slow, deliberate waves across the fields, swallowing trees whole, erasing the road, covering the rooftops of our small village like a burial cloth. You could hold your hand out in front of your face and barely see your fingers. We were 5 men sitting at the chopal that evening. A small fire burned between us, throwing orange shadows across tired faces. This was our routine. After a full day of work in the fields, we would sit together, drink chai, talk about nothing important, and slowly drift home one by one. But that night was different. Nobody was laughing. Nobody was telling jokes. We all sat quietly, staring into the fire, as if we all felt the same thing, but none of us wanted to say it out loud. Ramesh broke the silence first. "This cold is wrong," he said. "I have lived in this village my whole life, 53 years. I have never felt cold like this. It is not natural." Nobody argued with him. I said, "The cold is not what is scaring me tonight. What Mohan said yesterday, I cannot get it out of my head." Everyone turned to look at Mohan. Mohan was the quietest man in our group. He rarely spoke. When he did, people listened. He stared at the fire for a long moment before he spoke. "I was coming home from my sister's house," he said slowly. "Late, maybe 11 at night. I took the road past the old cremation ground because it is shorter." He paused. "I should not have." The fire crackled. Nobody moved. About halfway down that road, I saw someone walking ahead of me. A woman, long black hair, white clothes, walking slowly in the middle of the road. "So, a woman walking at night is not unusual," Ramesh said, though his voice was not confident. "Her hair was completely dry," Mohan said. "It was raining. I was completely soaked, but her hair was dry. Her clothes were dry. And her feet—" He stopped. Her feet were not touching the road. Complete silence. The fire spit a small burst of sparks into the air, and at that exact moment we all heard footsteps coming through the fog. Chapter 2. Hariram Kaka arrives. Heavy, slow footsteps coming from the direction of the old banyan tree at the edge of the chowpal. We all turned. A large shape emerged from the fog, then a face, old, weathered, deeply lined, the face of a man who had seen too much in his life and processed very little of it. Hariram Kaka. He was the oldest man in our village. Nobody knew his exact age. Some said 75, some older. He had outlived 2 wives, 3 of his children, and more friends than he could count. He sat by himself most evenings and rarely joined the chowpal anymore. But tonight he walked straight to our fire and sat down without being invited.
Chapter 3. The Night It Happened. "I was 26 years old," Kaka said. "Strong, foolish, the way young men are. I had gone to attend a wedding in a village about 15 kilometers from here, my cousin's wedding. It was a good celebration, food, music, dancing. I stayed longer than I planned. By the time I started walking home, it was past midnight. The rain started about 20 minutes into my walk. Not a gentle rain, a violent, angry rain, the kind that hits you like it is punishing you for something. Within minutes, I was completely soaked.
The road turned to mud, my shoes filled with water. The darkness was absolute. No moon, no stars, nothing. I almost turned back. Almost. But I was young and stubborn, so I kept walking. About 4 kilometers down the road, in the middle of absolutely nowhere, I saw a light. He paused, staring into the fire. A small dhaba, just a wooden shack really, with a tin roof and a single kerosene lamp hanging inside. But it was warm and dry, and at that moment it looked like the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I ran to it. Inside there was a wooden bench, a table, a man sleeping behind a counter. I sat down, wrung out my shirt, and just sat there listening to the rain pound the tin roof. I must have sat there for 20 minutes. That is when she appeared. Kaka's voice dropped even lower. I did not hear her come in. I did not hear the door open. I did not hear footsteps. One moment I was alone. The next moment she was standing directly in front of me. A woman, older, maybe 50, maybe 60, it was hard to tell. She was wearing a white sari that was completely clean and dry despite the rain outside. Her face was partially covered by the edge of her sari pulled up like a veil. Only her eyes were visible. Dark eyes, very dark. She said, and I remember every single word, she said, "Beta, I need to get to the edge of the jungle road. Will you walk with me? I am scared to go alone at this hour." I looked around. The man behind the counter was still sleeping. I looked back at